This is the radio-controlled M134 chain gun created by Unsualmachines. And I just want to show you what this whole system involves. Of course, we've got the standard M134 minigun on the top. We've got the manual triggers on the back, pretty much standard. We've also got a remote servo mount in here with control cables and a remote controlled power box. With the power box, we can go left and right, robotically controlled. And we also have a control on the fire button. Rotation is limited by the power cable from the gun to the servo box. Multiple operations are possible at a single time. We can slew and fire. Single operations. Powered fire buttons on the thumb. Manual slew is possible, up to 180 degrees. That's in a nutshell how it works, but let's go over the best feature of all, and that's the remote control. This lets you stand off about 200 feet, and you can operate the gun remotely as long as the main power switch is on and you've got a green light here. Pretty easy to operate. Now, if you just go ahead and hit keys on the remote control, you're going to see this light comes on red. You see that with all the buttons. That means your remote control is not turned on. To turn that on, just hit the green button here. And now when you hit the directionals, this will be green instead of red. Again, we're just going to hit to the left, hit to the right, and we can walk that all the way around. Same thing, hits the mechanical stops and everything's happy. The fire button is this top, what looks like the up button. Now with the remote control, you can be standoff and hands-free with this, and we're still swinging that, still firing the gun. This allows you to mount it on a vehicle, and you can stand off from the vehicle and still operate it. It's kind of a cool feature. All right, so obviously you know the remote control. I just want to give you a word of caution. You don't want to lose this, because this is matched to the receiver inside the control box. The two are a pair. If you lose the remote control, if you go out and buy another remote, it's just not going to work with it. I'm going to hook that for a second. The idea is this is going to mount vertically inside a vehicle cab, so you'd actually be looking down on the control panel. This is, of course, the antenna for the receiver on the controller. The electrical connection is underneath, and I did that so the cable doesn't pull. If it was sideways, the cable would always pull. So I think you've got a couple of mounting holes on the back where you could put in your own bracket or something like that. I really picture this sitting on like a dashboard of a 1.5 where it'd be very visible, and the green color, of course, combines in with the interior. Now the control cable coming out of the control box, it's about 15 feet long. And the important thing is that plugs into this connector the same side as the power. That's the control side right there. It's important that you don't mix up the cables. This particular one for the control is about 15 feet long. You really can't mistake that. You know that's going to be going somewhere distant. The other cable runs between the servo box and the gun. Now that's only about 3 feet long. It doesn't need to be any longer. It's important that you don't confuse these two cables. They've got a different pin out and a different configuration. Each cable is the same on both ends, so you don't have to worry about getting a cable backwards. You just can't swap one cable for the other. I hope that makes sense. The other cable we've got here is the power cable. Pretty simple connection, couple of twisty nuts. Very easy connection. You can improvise your own if you wanted to put wing nuts on there. The power cable is also about 15 feet long, comes back up to the battery. Hooking it up any way you want inside the vehicle is fine. Naturally, with any vehicle installation, I would recommend some type of fuse in line. The way we've got the electronics set up, if you get these reversed, that's okay. Any mistakes in polarity is not going to blow up the electronics. It's built to handle it. Now the entire system is windproof, weatherproof. Primary construction materials are the aluminum, the barrels, the body, it's all aluminum. There's a steel top here. Inside the servo box, there are a couple of gearing systems that are nylon, so I would not recommend exposing this to extreme heat. Like I said, it comes with about 24 inches of belt fed 762. Naturally, of course, these are fully drilled out to avoid any imperial entanglements, shall we say. Let me show you how we load that up. Of course, the lid opens up on the gun. You can see the firing bolt right in here. So if we bring that back, lock the bolt to the rear. You can see we've got 2 pins in here. Those pins are designed to mate right up to the ammunition. One locks in the front and one locks in the rear. Drop the lid, release the hammer, and you're ready to go. Now if the power is applied here and you've got the green light, you can also go freehand with this thing. Now it's a belt drive system, so you don't have to worry about blowing any gears or anything like that. If the power is applied over there, you get power here. Taking out the ammunition is just as easy as putting it in. Lift up the lid. There's your 2 pins right there. Just lift the ammo out, back in first, drop the lid, and you're back in business. Alright, now one thing I did want to show you is how we separate the gun from the servo box. It's actually pretty easy. Right down here I've got a little pin, and that locks in the support cradle to the drive axle. We just pull that out and the whole gun can lift right off. If you wiggle, there it is. So that's the entire system. It's a 12 volt vehicle mounted 7.62 chain gun with remote control and far distance remote control. I hope you enjoy it. Naturally, everything we sell comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you're not happy with this for any reason, and I mean any reason, please contact me through email and we can arrange for a full refund of your purchase price. I don't want to make any upset eBay buyers, and I'm not in the business of getting negative feedback. So if you're unhappy with this, please let me know first, and I will make things right with you. You've got my word on that. Okay, everything's in the box right now, and let's take a look at where all the components are. First, of course, we have the control box. This is secured in by 4 screws at each of the corners. Undo the screws, the control box comes right out. This is your accessory box. This has your belted ammunition, your 4 mounting feet, and your remote control wrapped up nice and secure. Over here we've got the short power cable. This goes between the gun and the servo box. Over here we've got the long power cable. That one goes between the servo box and the control box. The idea is the control box will be mounted inside the cab. The servo box is held in by 4 screws at each of the corners. Undo those screws and the servo box will come right out. Also in the crate we've got a copy of the Unsualmachines return policy. Basically it says if anything about this is not completely satisfactory, please call us. We can make arrangements from there, perhaps shipping it back for a full refund. We've also got a copy of the federal regulations regarding marking of toy and imitation firearms. In this particular case, it does look very realistic, so we've included the orange tips permanently attached at the front in compliance with the federal regulations. I trust this servo-operated remote control gun will bring some satisfaction. If not, please contact me.